You're someone with a vision for your practice, for your side hustle, and for your personal journey. But when it comes to establishing your path on how to get to where you want to be with your practice, things get a little messy. You're also someone who'd prefer to go in person instead of to groups and listening to everyone else's story. To me, it sounds like you could benefit from one-on-one consulting with our experienced practice of the practice consultants. From $5.95 a month and up, you can work with a consultant that will give you more direction and practical tried and tested tips matched to you and your goals. For more information, visit practiceofthepractice.com/apply. Again, that's practiceofthepractice.com/apply. This is the Practice of the Practice podcast with Joe Sanok, session number 1232. I'm Joe Sanok, your host, and welcome to the Practice of the Practice podcast. You know, we've been doing this high performance mindset just series over, every week since, let's look back. It was since like mid-May. So we're doing this for a while. Josh, who has been booking our guests, has been just having such an interesting vision for, doing high performance mindset on one day a week, mindfulness on another, and then productivity on the other. So we're, instead of doing series that are like, 12 episodes in a row, we're kind of dripping them out over time. We found that, that's working a little bit better where, if there's something that you're not as into, you'll still kind of have other things each week that you can listen to. So we have all sorts of things coming up around mindfulness, productivity, that high performance mindset. And with all of this, sometimes when we think high performance, to me, it falls into like kind of grounded people and then people that are just like doing it for the attention. And that's what I love about these people I've been able to introduce you to, is that oftentimes we're talking about people that just had a passion for one reason or another to do the thing that they want to do. And they're really good at it. They are, ultra athletes, people that go far beyond what the average person can do. And oftentimes they have just a very kind of guiding light to why they do this, which I'm so excited today to introduce you to Karl Meltzer. And Karl, I mean, he has the winningest 100-miler trail runner on earth, 50 and 100-mile wins, 75 ultramarathon wins, around 175 ultra finishes, 88 100-mile finishes, 22 years in a row winning at least 100-mile race. The Appalachian Trail fastest run, that's 2,189 miles in 45 days, 22 hours, and 38 minutes. The Pony Express fastest, 40 days at 2,161 miles. That was in 2010. I mean, so many just amazing things this guy has done. The 2006 Everest Award winner, 2006 Ultra Runner of the Year North America. I mean, the list goes on and on. Red Bull, did a film about him. All sorts of just like amazing things. Karl, welcome to the Practice of Practice podcast.
Thanks, Joe, for having me. It's really an honor to come on Practice. It's a great. It's always an honor to go on any podcast. When someone says, "Hey, you've done all these cool things," and I just think to myself, like, it's just what I do.
Yeah.
I'm just a runner. I love it. I focused my world around it when I started running around the mountains in the Wasatch Mountains in Salt Lake, and I said, how can I make a career at this? And unbelievably, I made it happen.
Yeah.
I don't even know how it kind of happened. I just followed my passion, and now here I am, age 57, talking about it and still participating, and talking about it to a lot of fans out there and people that are young to the sport or young to even just like you said, the mindset thing. It's an honor to be on, and it'll be cool to have a good conversation about it.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to do the Appalachian Trail. I was in the Boy Scouts. I remember I got my first 50-miler, when I was in like 6th grade, carrying this like 40-pound backpack, and it felt like I, was going to die. And that's always been something I've wanted to do. I've never thought about the idea of doing it fastest. So let's talk about some of these trail runs, like specifically, the Appalachian Trail. Like, what did you have to do to mentally prepare for, like these kind of like record breaking feats? Like what kept you focused, as you're say doing an Appalachian Trail run?
Well, it was funny when with the Appalachian Trail, I grew up in New Hampshire. So I grew up on those New Hampshire rugged trails. New Hampshire and Maine are really hard. It's just real technical, rocky, rooty. Just to give you a little background for some that don't know it. I grew up there. I moved to Utah, became a runner. With the Appalachian Trail, I brought the idea up to a company called backcountry.com, which is a local, now they're an online retailer. The two guys that own that company actually were friends of mine that I worked with at Snowbird. So
Oh,
I brought this idea up to them as one of their athletes to run the AT and to at the time to have a blog and show people and we'll have people follow and that kind of thing. And I never thought they would bite on the idea. But they did. And within a few months, we started talking about it and planning about it. And to be honest with you, even with my career of winning a lot of hundreds before that and that kind of thing, the AT is very different. It requires, the logistics of the crew and at that time we had an RV and all this stuff. And how do you prepare for it for mindset? I mean, that's a hard question because at the time I was like, okay, now I have to do 50 miles a day on a hard trail. How do I prepare for that? But ultimately, at the end of the day, when I prepare for something like that, even nowadays when I run a race, I take it with a grain of salt, right? Like we did our logistical stuff, we looked at the planning and all that stuff, and that was a little bit nerve wracking. But at the end of the day, when we're in Maine, the day before we started, it was exciting to see what led ahead of me down the trail. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know how I was going to feel. I didn't know how well the crew would adapt to finding me in Maine. Maine can be complicated if you're not very good at logistics. And at that time, it was a paper map. So,
yeah.
um, you couldn't just look at your phone and say, where is, Dutch Straw? I don't know. It's not
Put
that
a
easy.
little Apple, one of those little trackers on you, like couldn't do
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I had a tracker, but, we lost the tracker one day and they said, hey, where's Carl? They said, Carl, where's your tracker? It looks like it fell off your shoulder. I said, I don't know. Look on web to find the tracker. It's a tracker, right? Anyway, but preparing for it was really, I was just excitement, I was just like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Who gets to do this stuff? I was like, you know, blessed is not really my favorite word, but I was really fortunate to get the opportunity to do this. And when that happened, when we said, okay, let's do it, it was just excitement. And I went up Mount Katahdin, in Baxter Park, and I started going, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be like, a month and a half of hiking fast and jogging a little bit and trying to get this done. And it was really just excitement. I mean, it's hard to say. It's not like I sat around and thought about it every day. I mean, I did think about it every day, but I didn't really like think like, how do I approach this? I just said, let's see what's going to happen down the trail and we'll deal with the issues as you go. And as many ultra runners know, um, running ultra marathons, especially the longer distances, is how you manage the issues, your aches and pains, your soreness, your whatever, your stomach. But and the AT is the same thing. How do you handle issues? I mean, well, we're going to find out. So we rolled with it, and I can't tell you how much I learned that first time I did it. Looking
Mhm.
back, um, even when I failed the first time in 2008 when I tried. After 14 days, I was just injured and I couldn't continue, but I wanted to finish. So I took 4 days off and then I ended up finishing the trail in 54 days. And I said, I'm going to learn from this.
Mhm.
And I mean, the things that I learned, it's hard to even explain.
So take me to that moment. You take 4 days off and you decide I'm going to finish this anyway.
Mhm.
Was it so I can learn so I can do this again? Was it's just I want that sense of accomplishment? Like what was fueling the not just going home at that point?
Well, I think, to say I went 14 days and failed, and, again, if you're injured, it's fair to say you're injured, you fail, right? I mean, that's a fair deal, but I don't like to fail. And I had the opportunity. Again, the opportunity was there. Backcountry.com said, hey, we'll support you if you want to continue on. And I mean, that's huge. Don't kid me. Don't kid yourself. And I was like, let's keep doing it. What else am I going to do this summer? We're committed to the time.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity, and I said, well, let's just keep cranking out miles and see how we do. And there was no pressure to break the record because 4 days off means you fall about 200 miles behind that mysterious guy in front of you, right? And that was I felt was too much to make up, which it probably was at the time. So, we go out and we do 42, 43 miles a day on average, and you enjoy it a little more because you finish a little bit earlier. But again, it was really about learning. Like, we had a crew come in and out every week, so that made it difficult because the crew didn't really know me that well. So they had a learning curve for 3 days. Then they get it for 3 days. Then they go away, and the next guy comes in, right? So we learned that that probably wasn't a good idea. You probably
Mm.
want somebody there the whole time. That's just one of the things you learn. And then you've got to find the right people to help you with that. My dad was spectacular every time. Eric Bells, who was the ultimate crew guy in 2014 and 16, he found that they were the right people for me. But that was the one thing we learned. I mean, we knew it was hard. We knew the injury potential. Um, we learned of what to do after every day when I finish, like instantly sit down, put ice on your shins, eat right away, little things like that instead of fumbling around, wasting time, not sleeping. So those were some of the things that we learned. And then the logistical things of just following that damn paper map um, and trying to teach. I'm very good at that, but my crew wasn't great at that to start.
Mm.
So, but they got better. But at the same time, we had to have the people like Eric Bells. Once he learned it, it was like even in 2016, it was still generally a paper map was our backup. We used the phone and stuff, but anyway, I never carried my phone on the trail actually. So
Yeah.
um, we learned a lot of things that early year. But and going back was with Red Bull when they gave me the opportunity again. It was like at first I didn't want to, but then it was like yeah, let's do it, but let's do it right this time and do more research and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I've had great opportunities with all kinds of different things in ultra running, and the AT was definitely the number one on the list.
Yeah, like I want to get in Carl's head and just kind of think about like when you're thinking about attempting the impossible, quote unquote, or that someone hasn't done, like how does that idea germinate? Is it just like, oh, I wonder what would happen if I ran across this, or like how does that germinate for you?
Yeah, every year, in my ultra running career, for the longest time, I always thought like, how do I raise the bar? What do I do next? Um, at first it was like winning the Hard Rock 100 was my first big kind of goal, and I won that in 2001. I'm like, oh, I can do this. Then I won a bunch of hundreds, and then I won 600s in one year in 2006, and that was the most someone had won in a year. I'm like, okay, well, I raised the bar there. And then after that, I was like, well, now we need to pass Andreessen, who has 22 wins. Then I passed that. Then I raised the bar there. And then it was like, well, what's next? And I couldn't really think of what was next. But then I thought about the AT, and again, like I said earlier, I didn't think they were going to bite on it, but they bit on it, and that was next. Um, but again, I didn't break the record till 2016, but that was like me. I just always feel like I need to raise the bar. I mean, now when I'm older, I don't necessarily feel that way, but me raising the bar now with my old age is finishing 100 hundreds. I have 89 now because I just finished another one. You mentioned 88 in the start there,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I got another one in the books. But that's my next raising the bar goal because we haven't seen a real elite athlete like I was back in the day finish 100 hundreds. So that's just the next thing. After that, I don't know what else I can come up with. uh,
Yeah. Well, and
but
I
it's
think
cool to have that mindset.
I think sometimes what I see, and I see this in myself too, obviously in different ways, because I'm not like an ultra athlete, but like that achievement mindset is really beneficial in a lot of ways. But then also a kind of basking in what you've achieved and like not just moving on to the next thing and not always raising the bar for yourself. Like, how do you find that balance of being satisfied with the amazing career you've had and being grateful for that, and then also pushing yourself to try new things? Because I think sometimes that pushing yourself can come from a place of like just a discontent person, and trying to achieve something for maybe something inside or whatever, versus also just like being like, dang, like look what I just achieved. Like, how do you find that balance?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an addict. Like when it comes to running, I could very easily just step away and be like, okay, my career was fabulous. But I can't do that. I feel like I've got to get out every day and do something. And that's how I just keep going and going and going. I do my best to stay uninjured. But I just have that mindset is like, I can't sit still. I mean,
Yeah.
I like that sense of accomplishment. And every time that I fail, even now, like when I have a bad day out in the trail, I not really laugh at myself, but I kind of chuckle. I'm like, all right, here's my bad patch. But I always learn how to get out of it. And then when you learn how to get out of the pain cave, so to speak,
Hmm.
you can do that in all aspects of life. It doesn't have to be running. It can be anything, whether it's a job or your golf game or whatever. You can always get out of that cave. And I think over the years, ultra running has taught me how to get out of that cave. I just you're always going to have a tough time out there. It's always going to hurt. So learning how to get yourself out of that makes you a better person and better at doing things, whatever that may be, at least for
Hmm.
me. I don't know if that answers the question. It's just, um, it's, I'm just addicted to it, you know. That sense of accomplishment is is great. When I build a little stone wall or I do something, that sense of accomplishment. Hey, look at that! It's nice and straight, or whatever. You know, it's I I love that. I don't like to sit back and just watch other people do things. I have to get involved and I have to
Hmm.
accomplish something to make myself feel satisfied.
Yeah, and so I'm hearing just sort of like a like I have to. Like I
Yeah.
interviewed Fiona Oakes, which I'm not sure exactly when we released her episode. She's got world records on, I think the 7 continents, of doing a marathon and then also the North Pole and like so
Wow.
she's done these like crazy things, but for her it's all like giving exposure to just animal suffering. And like she's like I have to do this. Like it just
Yeah.
compels her so much. So I'm hearing that, but then I'm also hearing a lot around just like allowing suffering. So tell me about that kind of mental side of suffering when you're in the midst of it. Like you said, that the dark cave. Like,
Yeah.
what techniques do you use? Like, how do you get through it? Like, or do you just get through it? Like maybe you don't even think through it. Like,
Yeah.
how do you do the mental side and the physical side when that much pain is going on for you?
I mean, I tell myself, and even if this last 100 that I ran, just blink and it'll be over, right? Like I've driven across the country a number of times, and that's a long drive. When you start your day out, you're like, I'm going to drive 15 hours today. I'm going to sleep in my car. I'm going to get up. I'm going to drive 15 tomorrow. It's a long ways, and it may take 2.5 days for me to get back to New Hampshire. But I'm telling myself, just blink, it'll be over. And for some reason that signals, okay, Carl, you're fine. But then it is over, like I just went to California, I ran 100 miles, I drove back, I got stuck in traffic, all these things happened, and I am, and I'm back here. It's Thursday afternoon, and I've been home for 4 or 5 days already. But it's just like I have a just blink attitude of life in general. I mean, I can remember days in the 80s and in the 90s when I said, man, 2020 is so far away. I mean, I'm sure you can think about that too and say, man,
Oh
it was
yeah.
just yesterday that I was a ski bum at Snowbird, busting tables at the keyhole and skiing all day in powder and stuff. And all of a sudden, here you are 35 years later, poof,
Yeah, I mean, I hear
life
bands that
goes.
came out in college, and I'm like, they still sound like a new cool sound, and I'm like, God, that's like 20 years old.
20 years ago,
It's
right?
like, yeah,
So,
the Postal Service just came out. It's like, no, they've been
yeah.
on since there.
And that's how I tell myself in these ultras is that when I'm having a bad patch or something and I'm slow or I'm only at mile 30, I don't feel so good. I just say, just keep walking forward. It'll, just blink, it'll be over. And all of a sudden, like, 4 or 5 p.m. comes along, it cools down, it gets a little nicer. Sometimes I'll look forward to like in an ultra, if it's hot, it's stage 1 p.m. or something. I just tell myself, hey, at 5:30, it's going to start to cool. The sun gets low or whatever. And so I focus on getting to 5:30, and then like, okay, oh, thank God it's cooler. And then everything gets a little bit better because it's cooler. But sometimes you focus it in pieces. We tell people to run ultras, aid station to aid station.
Mm,
Focus your life in pieces, but it's just about like how fast does it really go? And I'm sitting here talking to you now. I'm age 57, and if I make it to age 70, I'll remember this, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I just said to Joe I'm 57, and poof, I'm 70. You know, um, it's gonna come quick. I mean, don't kid yourself.
oh
It's
yeah,
um, it's life, and I think you got to treat it sort of like one day at a time. I've never been
yeah.
the kind of guy that is worried about his retirement. I mean, I don't. I'm living in now. I'm living the now time.
Mm,
As opposed to waiting for my retirement fund to mature or whatever the hell that is. I'm not worried about that. I want to live now. And as far as like, again, getting out of that bad patch, it's just knowing that it will be over soon enough. And if you drop out now, you're going to be disappointed in yourself. It's always standard. And sometimes I've DNF'd 14 times at 100 miles. So I've DNF'd a number of times. But when a DNF, I'd have that 100 so I could be done. but,
mhm.
but, always regret those times, even if you were injured. I mean, most of the races I dropped out because we just say, yeah, I was just a wuss, and it's like I dropped out. Those are no good. So you got to talk yourself through it. And I think the more that I've done so many of them that I'm not intimidated, I can talk myself through it at any time, as long as I'm not injured.
As a therapist, I can tell you from experience that having the right EHR is an absolute lifeline. I recommend using Therapy Notes. They make billing, scheduling, note-taking, telehealth, and e-prescribe incredibly easy. Best of all, they offer live telephone support that's available 7 days a week. You don't have to take my word for it. Do your own research and see for yourself. Therapy Notes is the #1 highest rated EHR system available today, with a 4.9 out of 5 stars on trustpilot.com and on Google. All you have to do is click the link below or type promo code Joe on their website over at therapynotes.com and receive a special 2-month trial absolutely free. Again, that's therapynotes.com and use promo code Joe on the website. If you're coming from another EHR, Therapy Notes will also import your demographic data quick and easy at no cost, so you can get started right away. Trust me, don't waste any more of your time and try Therapy Notes. Just use promo code Joe at checkout. Yeah, I think a lot of practice owners and entrepreneurs are like, when this happens, then I can be happier. When this happens, then I can relax. Yeah. And then like that, I love that idea of bringing it back to the present. What other like life lessons would you say you've personally embraced as a direct result of your ultras? Like what else for you helps guide your life differently? If you hadn't done ultras, you wouldn't have learned those lessons.
Man, I it's crazy how my life has moved forward. So a quick brief that you probably don't know. So I was graduated high school '86. I dropped out of college in '88. Then I moved to Utah to be a ski bum. And those minimal conversations I had with Andrew Tonelli, a friend of mine at Plymouth State College, that said, let's go to Big Sky and ski next year. That changed my life. Like if I'd never met Andy or that idea never came to us, I never probably would have moved out west, which means I probably wouldn't be living on the East Coast, probably live in Vermont or northern New Hampshire maybe, but very, very different. I may not even have been a mountain runner. I'm sure I would have hiked a lot because I love it. But those things, I've been really lucky to hook up with Hoka. That was like a total random phone call, But I'm really lucky to be where I'm at. I've made a decent living for myself. I have my own shoe. I mean, that's like ridiculous. Who has that besides Jordan or someone else?
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's incredible.
Did you get to design the shoe or like have input on it?
I'm part of the process. I mean, I'm not a shoe designer, right? I mean, I can only throw in my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's only worth half a penny, but at the same time, like those, I've been really lucky to have that, and all I can do is embrace it, and I'm just going to keep living my life in the way I want to. And hopefully I don't run out of ideas,
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about kind of the mental health side of these ultra runs, because a lot of our listeners are therapists, and so they always like love to hear like where is there overlap? Like, are there things that running has helped you overcome or has helped you work through, or like even just thinking about spending 100 miles kind of with your own self for the most part, like there's got to be some kind of sorting out of your life that goes on in there. Tell me about just like the mental side of some of that.
Well, you think about all kinds of things out there. It could be anything. It could be the Masters this weekend, or you could be thinking about the next tree you're going to cut down in your backyard. Those thoughts go through your head all the time, and I think like trying to stay positive about just about anything you do is obviously very important. When you start getting negative, it just goes down the tube. But I always try to put a positive swing on things. For the most part, I can also be a grump and negative like most people too. But staying positive with almost anything that you do, I think, is going to make you a better person, and not just for yourself, but for others too. Be nice to others, things like that. I've learned that just throw away the stupid negative thoughts. Like if I get in an argument with someone, I generally will, if I just walk away. I'm like, guys, that just isn't worth my time. I would rather be walking around the woods or something. I I just get away from the negative stuff and just stay positive in most cases. And that's how I've been able to like deal with my life. When bad things happen, I mean, shit happens, right? And you can't, if it's in the past, you can't, it's uncontrollable. So a
Hmm.
lot of things have happened in the past and I'm like, well, we can't control that. So let's just move forward and try to deal with what we have. And that's how my life has been like that. My entire life has been like that. I think too many people worry about what happened in the past, but you can't change it. And,
Yeah.
then they stress out or worried about this, that, or how do I make it better? And you learn from mistakes, but you can't really change what happened. So I just try to like move forward, go to the next step, go to the next stone for the wall, find something else.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds a lot like Michael Singer. He wrote a book called The Untethered Soul, and he talks about in kind of mindfulness work how there's two areas that can really help you work on that. And one's the weather and one's traffic.
Yeah.
And even recently, my sister and I were talking, and we live in northern Michigan. We choose to live here. There's a lot great about it. And at the time of this recording, it's April. I know it's releasing in July. But Michigan always gets snow in April and it always gets sunny 70-degree days. And so it's like, we literally had my daughter was in shorts, went to school, it was like 70 degrees. And the next day there was an ice storm and like
Yeah.
2 inches of snow. And
Yeah.
it's like so many people as I walk my kids to school are like, oh, can you believe this? And it's just like Michael Singer talks about how it's such a mindfulness exercise to realize you have absolutely no control over the weather. Like, it's like you choose to go camping this weekend and it rains. Okay, like you then have a choice to stay home
And
or
you
not go
embrace it,
camping or embrace it and like say, oh, we're gonna dress for the weather, whatever. Same with traffic, that like that our version of how someone should drive, like we're putting on other people. And so he uses that as an analogy of like, hey, like, yeah, you don't have control over other people. They do dumb stuff all the time. And like you can embrace that, you can fight that, you can take a different street if you don't like it so busy. So
yeah.
so I love what you're saying about the like walking away from fights, not getting as involved in kind of the drama of the world with people where it's
Yeah.
just like this isn't worth my energy.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times like I just walked away from stupid crap. I'm like, this isn't worth my time, you know?
Yeah.
Life is too short to get in a mess or an argument.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah.
How does your like when you think about kind of your rituals, it could be around running, but also just like life rituals, like how do you structure your life in a way that keeps giving you meaning, keeps giving you time to run, like all these things? Like what's the pattern of your life look like?
Yeah. I mean, typically I get my running every day. That's the most important thing to me, right? Like I always run in the morning, and that's just like if I do that, I get that out of the way, then I feel like I've accomplished, step one or whatever. And then I'll generally focus on, or I'll think about. I mean, I coach people, right? So I tell a lot of people, I'm dealing with that all during the day, and that's totally cool because I'm helping people become better runners, hopefully, in theory. And then in my evenings, I just kind of do what I want to do, and a lot of times I like doing landscaping things, outdoor things, so I stay outside.
Hmm.
I stay engaged in that. I don't sit in front of the TV until the very end of the night, probably. I stay engaged with doing things that I like to do. And if I don't do that, my structure is I'm all over the place. If I'm forced to go somewhere for a weekend, to travel somewhere to go for a weekend, and I really don't want to go, unfortunately, Carl becomes a bit of a grump.
Mm.
um, I have my own patterns. I think we all have our own patterns of how we do life, and for me, I just try to make sure that that pattern revolves around. I mean, I don't mean I sound selfish, but it revolves around me and like how I enjoy my day, and then that's maybe step two, and then step three is just like I deal with the rest.
Hmm.
But it's that run and like planning my day of like I want to enjoy my day, whatever it might be. I work around a lot of things to get my fun stuff in, and
Yeah.
that makes me a happier person. But I can't imagine. I honestly can't imagine myself having to go to work whether it's an office or wherever. To work for someone else is at this point in my career is would be hard.
Yeah, I
Um,
hear that.
I, I punching the clock. I don't know.
Yeah.
After you've been able to do it without that, it's be impossible. But I mean, I just try to do happy things during the day and don't screw things up and try to keep my relationships good uh,
Yeah.
and just be happy with life.
Now, I think a lot of people are guided by kind of shoulds. Like, I
Yeah.
should do this as a parent. I should do this as a engaged citizen. I should do this, whatever the should is.
Hmm.
Um, how would you challenge that? How would you maybe help them think differently about that?
Well, there's nothing wrong with doing something for your community and all that. I don't think anybody should have to do that anything, but it's like you said, we all have our mindset. Like some people say, "Well, I got it. This is what I feel like I should do." Like the woman you said who did the marathons. She felt like that's what she should do. Then do it. That's what makes you happy, right? That makes you happy. Then do it. But at the same time, like I think like again, life is short, so it's like you still want to make yourself you still want to be happy with yourself, like doing like I spend a lot of time alone fumbling around my house and doing stuff. I love that because it's just my own time. You've got to have your own time. I mean, it's important to help others and to I mean, I don't have kids either, so I'm a little biased without kids because that would be an entirely different world, obviously. So I'm a little selfish with myself, but I just think like we need to have our own time, and if we don't, then then what is life really for? I mean, I don't know. That's just how I am. I know some people may disagree, but that's okay. Um, I'm always the person too, or I am the person that will help others too. I'm not someone that's selfish that say, "Hey, I'm not going to help you," or "I'm not going to help." Like in a race, if someone drops their water bottle in front of me, I'll probably pick it. Simple things, but I'll pick it up for them, and I'll open the door for somebody. I'm like that. But you got to. I mean, I don't know. You live once. You got to think of yourself sometimes. It's just how it is. How I am anyway.
Yeah, it's like this weekend I have a friend who she's having a birthday party. It's her birthday and she's doing like this paddleboard thing and then they're going out dancing and she's a
Yeah.
good friend of
Big
mine.
plans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like but my kids are gone this weekend. My partner is gone this weekend and I have the house to myself for like 24 hours for the first time in like I
Right.
don't I don't even remember when. And I'm
Right.
like seriously, I feel like just like emptying out drawers and organizing them and purging crap from my house that has accumulated. Like that just sounds more fun to me. But then like my other
Right.
side is like good friends go paddleboarding and good friends do and it's like no, like and I had
Yeah.
texted her actually right before this and just said, man, I would love to come, but it's the first time that, I'll have 24 hours to have like the house completely to myself and have quiet. She's like, that's so important too. Like she didn't care. She's like, good for you. Like,
Right.
well done. And I
Yeah.
think
That's
that,
that's how it is. That would be me too. Like
yeah,
I finally get this time to do this, but then I can't because I should do
yeah,
this. Right. Yeah. That's a great example you just had right there. It's just for me. I mean, if I was free all the time and once in a while, sure, I'll go to the paddleboard. I'll do that. But it's like you said, when you're busy all the time and all of a sudden you get that 24 hours, it's like a vacation pass.
yeah.
It's
I'm
a
like, oh, I can just like do laundry and do whatever I want for 24 hours. It's like, even though it's
yeah.
like chores for the most part, I just know I'm going to feel so much better having just like reset the house and done that for myself. I'm wondering when people are dealing with their own challenges, either physical or emotional, or like, in their businesses, like what advice do you have for them in regards to how to handle that based on what you've learned from ultra running?
Well, you've gone over a little bit already, but just you have to keep your mindset of like it's hard to explain, but have take one step at a time. Um, you know, do what you got to do with your work and your mindset and stuff. But once you leave and go home or whatever, turn it off. Don't
Hmm.
go home and go. I can't tell you, like working in a restaurant at Snowbird. I mean, all we do when we go home is bitch about the people we waited on. Right?
Hmm.
Turn that off. Um, have your time for your work and have your time for your home. I don't know if that kind of answers the question a little bit. I'm on a string, but you just gotta, I don't know, just be yourself. I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So awesome. Carl, the last question I always ask is if every private practitioner in the world were listening right now, what would you want them to know?
100 miles is not that far.
Ooh.
That's for
Oh
their running.
man.
That's for their running clients. um, no, but I mean, so much more. Any type of practitioner like that would have so much more knowledge of the mindset stuff, and I get that. But really, realistically, is that I personally take life with a grain of salt, and like it can end in any moment. So live first, die later has been a pretty common word I like to use. work to live, don't live to work. Those are simple things that you've heard before, I'm sure. But those really ring true to me because it keeps me focused on not just doing what I should do. Like I like using that word now, but
Yeah.
I like to do what I want to do. Should is like, no, I'll do what I want to do. So, I mean, for all those out there, it's just they have to understand, like, even when they talk to some clients that have problems, it's just like, listen, like life is what it is. You can't change what's behind you. Go forward and try to stay positive. And that's the most important thing with people is the positivity. You get in traffic, like you said, what are you going to do? You either pull over and take a rest at the stop, like I did on my way home from California in the traffic, or you just deal with it and just blink and it'll be over.
Such great advice, Karl. If people want to follow you, where should we send them?
My website, karlmeltzer.com, is currently basically under construction, so visit that in a little bit. There'll be some cool stuff on there. My Instagram handle is @MeltzerKarl, and I participate more on Facebook because I'm old. So,
Awesome.
But Facebook's Karl Meltzer, and then and Twitter too, or X or whatever. But yeah, just follow me a little bit and check out. I mean, I'm getting close to 100 hundreds. So, I mean, Hoka's still behind me. My Ultraspire, my First Endurance, and Drymax are all still behind me, which is pretty amazing. Being an old man, even though I'm slow, but they've been really fantastic, and they've really driven my career too, which also motivates me. If everybody fires me, then it's like, I guess I'll just go keep cutting branches outside. So anyway, thankful for all those
awesome
stuff. It's been a great life.
Well, we'll have links to all that in the show notes as well. Karl, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
So, it's things like this that just really motivate me to just think differently and just see how we can learn lessons from people that are so far outside of our field, and that ultimately we're all humans living life. We're all humans that are trying new things, and we're all trying all sorts of other things. So thanks so much for listening to this show today. We also couldn't do this show without amazing sponsors like Therapy Notes. Therapy Notes is the best electronic health records out there. They will help you switch over from your current EHR. They also give you 2 months for free or just money off if you use promo code Joe at checkout. They are phenomenal. They help with automated billing. It's going to make it easier to outsource your billing. So many reasons to switch to Therapy Notes. Just head on over to therapynotes.com, read about it, and at checkout, just use promo code Joe. Thank you so much for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Special thanks to the band Silence is Sexy for that intro music, and this podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, the producers, the publishers, or guests are rendering legal, accounting, clinical, or other professional information. If you want a professional, you should find one.